Do you remember those days we rubbed our skin with coconut oil? And for your birthday, you got your egg hard boiled. Those were the days we used strictly mosquito coil, long before the mosquito zapper came into style. Do you remember when Grandma used to carry it to church? When we sat through the whole session without learning one verse. Those days when we were so scared to curse and were so terrified every time we saw a hearse. Do you remember those days we had no electric light? We had to use kerosene lamps in the night. We made such a big deal over the moonlight, and we used to talk jumpy stories to inspire fright. Can you remember being sent to buy quarter-pint oil and half-pound chicken? And if you sulk up, you would get a good licking. And we used to get skim milk from school and get shit-ins. Those days we told visitors, Mommy said, for says she's sleeping. Do you remember pitching marbles for rubber bands? Do you remember playing king pon the land? You must have played Saul out and kicking the pond. Man, it brought us so much joy waiting on the ice cream van. Do you remember hiding the belt and the guava or tamara whip? But even with the pot spoon, we would get hit. Did you wet yours or use it hard like brick? I'm talking about the newspaper you took to the latrine to bust a shit. Do you remember your first TV was black and white? Yeah. And you would want the battery charge, especially for movies on Saturday nights. And when it jumped in, you would just tap it slide. When the knob broke, you used the wire or pliers, right? Remember when you used to pee your bed? Get up, change, and roll your cousin, brother, or sister in it instead. Back in those days, we used to toast stale bread. And whenever Mommy bought cheese, we'd make cheese spread. Heirs were bored with needles and wrapped with thread. Bush medicine was the most common meds back in those days. Such a simple life we led. Oftentimes, with mud on our feet, we would go to bed. Do you remember when you used to dab the yard with cow dung? When Grandma would give us a toops, a brown rum? Those days we'd go to sleep chewing gum, and it's all over your head when the morning comes. You must remember the days we played Dolly House. We would take turns playing the kids and the spouse. Remember when we would tease some of the kids about louse? But never meant it as a racial grouse. Remember when we cooked with the coal pot, fireside, or the Kero stove, and we made tea sometimes with spice, sometimes with clove. We pulled cane from the tractors and jumped on the horse carts the fellow drove. Remember when we put our greens in the Jew because we had no fridge? When we used 2 boards to make a bridge? The days we were big on flour and rice porridge, and almost everyone had a family working in Matthews Ridge. Remember we bought food in paper bags from the Chinese, and we'd ask for extra rice and extra red pork, please. Back in those days, you'd hear, hold a small piece. Do you remember being Guyanese? Do you remember when butter sawaki was the wear? And you would use the stuff from the battery to polish your pair? Anyone with a British knife or a LA gear caused us to stare. To us, those folks were like millionaires. Remember those big plaits and braids Grandma used to put in your hair? And how big you felt when your first pubic hair appeared? Did your grandma or grandpa have a rocking chair? I bet when neighbor Mavis looked you, that was daycare. Do you remember when we used to feel in the gutter for fish? And when shine rice was our favorite dish?
Still is.
When we would be looking for shooting stars to make a wish, and when the only knife we could afford was the barber's swish. Remember when we used to tease yard fowl to make bush cook? Sometimes we caught patois with warm bait and hook. We had no QWERTY on our notebooks. All we had were the blue ones with a picture born up top. Do you remember when we bought black pudding and bus rice? When we never had enough money for milk on the crushed ice? Those were the days of 5-0, before icy and slice, when our house had some big rats and we would call them mice. Big up yourself if you remember C-Rex. Almost every dog in those days was named Rover or Rex. I bet you had the enamel cups and the enamel poles. Before cinema came, we went to video shows. When the big thing was bell-bottom pants and afros. And when you pass wind, you'd look at someone else and cark your nose.